brain saved by the pain, ain't but a thing. Slam. No matter he says I'm gon' need something else to burn. Daddy and I got nowhere to turn. I'm about to be jumping the circle. I'm not in the mix, but don't act like you ain't heard. How fast till you word? Well, work what I heard. My peace can't get started. My mind's still on dreams. Soon as my eyes roll open, come good tokens. I've been training myself to add cheese to the picture. Smile go far, self-grace is worth a million. My outlook changed a bit, came a little up. By the time they want the price, the name that went up. Still got work to do, I'm trying daily. Cause don't end up and leave, but I can take it. By now all my demons know I'm praying. By now all my haters know I'm staying. Stack it, flip it, yeah, you know the plan. Feel like I been gave another chance. And it ain't wasted on gambles. Cause I knew I would be this 5 cents in Pampers. They say that he won't put nothing on, you can't handle. So I just see a few more ships on my map. No matter he says I'm gon' need something else to burn. Daddy and I got nowhere to turn. Nobody be jumping the curve. I'm not in the mix, but don't act like you ain't heard. How fast till you work? Well, work what I heard. My peace can't get started. Cause I trained myself to find the center on nights I went no heat that winner. Introspection peace when you let nothing out with inner easy. When you go without for dinner. And I wasn't even a teen yet. I learned that from my gene stretch. I moderate now more cause I'm eating. Yes, I tolerate lactose where the cheese at. The pace is present, live in the future now, can't waste a second. Gotta eat beats when I lack protein. Clean drip, it don't even need chlorine. Stem from the dirt and your knees folks green. I can teach them best, it ain't no situation you can't finesse. Keep your head high, learn what you worth for text. Serve 24 until you in your round of rest. Now thanks for eating Southern Cafe, here's the check.
Welcome to NWA Cane Corsos Podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
Salute DK Canine, salute Skype Pup. Everybody, welcome back to the show. Salute Vicente Moore, salute chat. What's going on, everybody? We back for another one. We've been knocking them out this week.
Yeah, you've been getting them in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am your host, Joe of NWA Cane Corsos, where we talk all things dogs. This is an all-breed podcast. And today we have a special guest, a very intelligent young man. He want to make some clarifications and he want to teach some things too. This is Brother John Mims.
Mims.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Mims.
John Mims of Canine Mims. Sorry about that.
Yes, sir. No
yes,
problem,
sir.
bro.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you.
Yes, sir. So quick intro of myself, man. My name is John Mims. I'm located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've been training dogs, as you hear a lot of us say, since long as I can remember. Well, if I close my eyes right now, Joe, I picture myself, I was 2 years old, eating a sandwich, and I give the dog a piece. I take a bite, and I give the dog a bite. That's how far back I can remember having a dog. Now, training the dog, when I started learning, it was at that age. And it kind of came and went for a few years until I kind of decided to take it seriously. So I would always train dogs for guys in the neighborhood and stuff like that. And then when I graduated in 1988, I decided to take it serious. I guess just kind of bumped it up a little bit and just started broadening my horizon as far as the people that I started contacting and learning different things from, and take a little bit from this guy, a little bit from this guy, a little bit from this guy, and put my program together upon other stuff that I've learned over the years. So it's been many, many years in the making. I can remember when cell phones first came out and you were paying by the minute. and I used to run my cell phone bill up to $500-600.
Wow.
Just on the cell phone. They had the bag phones, the little flip phone, and they had the phones in the car. And I had one in my car at the time, and I used to run that phone bill up to $500-600.
Wow.
On top of the phone bill in the house, just talking dog talk, connecting with people, networking. And that was many, many, many years ago. And learning at different levels. So I have the experience from the backyard training up until the professional training, where there are some things that you just don't do when you're trying to sell a dog to certain people. These type of people, if you try to sell them a dog and they see one procedure that you do that they don't like, that they don't agree with, they won't buy your dog. I've dealt with those people several times like that, and luckily to say that my experiences with those people have been okay. I've been able to make the sale, so the dog training from almost every breed possible that I would could put my hand on. I wanted to put my hand on to train, to test theories out, to find out, and not go on what Joe said, not go on what John said, not go on what Brandon said, not go on what CT said, not going on what other people said. I wanted to get a specific breed, get it in, try these different things with that particular breed to see if it was actually true of what other people said. Now, that could go any number of ways because my expertise may be a little different from yours, Joe.
Right.
Maybe a little different from somebody else's. Maybe a little different from somebody else's.
Right.
So for me, I can't say. I can say with all certainty, it hasn't been many dogs that I've put my hands on that I haven't achieved what I set out to achieve with that particular dog. Doesn't matter the breed. I hear a lot of guys now say that with certain breeds, they only do certain things, or you have to do it this way, or you have to do it that way. No, that's you throwing a blanket coverage over a lot of dogs and a lot of people with different experiences. So you can't say that. So I never try to say it or outright say it where this particular breed has to do this, because that's not always the case.
And there's levels to this thing too. You know what I mean?
There are certain levels to it, and a lot of guys have no idea of the levels when you get up higher and higher. The tolerances of mistakes are minimal. You get the higher you go, the tolerance of the mistakes get lower and lower and lower. And everybody don't know what everybody knows, because some people live on the East Coast, they have a certain way of thinking. People live on the West Coast, they train a certain way. People out West, Midwest, Mideast, whatever, they all have different things and they learn different things. And some guys aren't okay with opening their mind to learning different concepts and putting things together to make a complete dog.
How many different disciplines do you know as far as dog training?
I've trained dogs for sport. I've trained police dogs. I've trained and with the police dog, that includes the track and the trail and the dope work, the search and rescue dogs. I've trained dogs. I'm working on a dog now, and I kind of waited until this specific time to say it. I saw a dog years ago on a TV show where the dog found skin cancer in the lady.
Yeah. And
through some of the people I know, I've trained a lot of doctors here, dogs, and I ran it by one dermatologist, and that's what I'm working on now, a dog that finds skin cancer. Okay. So I've trained them at all disciplines, but the sport dogs, I support a lot of people in sports. Mark Leamer is out in Atlanta, Josh McGee, those guys, a couple of guys in Houston, a couple of guys in Dallas. DeJuan Field is one of the guys. I support a lot of those guys that do sport dogs, but they also do personal protection dogs, a little bit of police dogs. But I've done them all, the different things. I've only competed in 2 sport events, and that's all it took for me to realize I'm not a sport dog guy as far as being in that clique with a lot of those people.
Yeah.
Because it's a very cliquish community.
That's hard. That's the hard thing about dog communities when it's sports or shows. I'm not really into, the group stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's two. If you don't know, the one show I went to was in Mississippi, and it was, let's see, 2015, 20, maybe 22 years ago. I saw the score sheet a couple of months ago. I was moving some things around, and I still have the score sheet from that event. But when it was all said and done, I just kind of walked off of the thing because I didn't agree with what they were saying. The way they would run, certain people run this scenario, you run this something, but it's all supposed to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So when after it was all said and done, I knew I had the best dog. I didn't even know the routines, but I knew what I can do with my dog, and I know what stage my dog was at. And they just, it's just that taught me real quick not to get involved in that sports stuff. Of course, like I said, now I'll if you did it, somebody else I know, if we're friends and you're competing, I'll drive out to watch you, to support you and what you're doing with it. But as far as me competing for it, no, I don't do it.
Right.
I like the police dogs and the personal protection dogs is what I've kind of learned to kind of steer towards over the last few years, just out of what I like doing,
So I was asking you about how did training police dogs come about? Do they have contract? Do you have contracts? How do they hire out for that?
Well, it depends on where you're at, how big the department is. The bigger the department, the more red tape you have to go through to get a dog sold, because like our department here where I live, I think they have 5 or 6 dogs. So they may only need to replace 1 dog this year. Well, they won't come to me because when they come, they know they want 1, but they want to evaluate 20 dogs. So therefore I can't fit their bill because I don't have 20 dogs for them to look at and then take a pick from 20 dogs,
Yeah.
And now a smaller department that town may have, I'll give you an idea. There's a town about 2 hours from me. I sold them a dog. The assistant chief at the time contacted me, told me what they were looking for, what their budget was. They have a smaller budget. So I went out, demoed the dog. It was me, the chief, the guy that was going to handle the dog, the assistant chief, and they had a guy there doing the decoy work, and the mayor of this little town. Demoed the dog. The guy said, yeah, the dog will work. The chief said, thumbs up, told the mayor, give the guy the check. Gave him the check, and I was down the road. And they had a major interstate running through their town, I-49, matter of fact, going up north of us in northern Louisiana. So that dog paid for itself. That dog carried that department for 7 years, man, financially.
Wow.
With a smaller department. So when you get in with those smaller departments for people like myself, where we don't have 20 dogs for them to look at, to keep on hand and stuff like that, it's just less red tape. You go there, you deal with 4 or 5 people, you make the sale, and the dog looks good. And some of them I've had the luxury of signing them in on some maintenance work with the dog. So I would go back once or twice a month, do a little maintenance training, and keep the dog up, and the dog would take off and run with him, So that's how I work myself in with that. But with some of the departments, over the years, I've made contacts with other trainers that have big contracts with certain departments all over the country. So myself, I've had dogs that wound up working in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, all the way down south to on the border in Mexico, out at DFW, and that was from narcotics dogs to explosive dogs. So those are dogs that either they were 75, 80% done when the trainers got them. So they finish them up and they present the dog to the client, and then they sell the dog to the client. But the credit is also given to me for supplying the dog to the trainer for them to get the dog to the bigger departments. And that's fine with me. When I do that, that's okay with me. I don't mind it, but that's how I worked my way into that many, many years ago, making contacts with people and on that phone and running that bill up to $500 and $600 many years ago. You know, I was told the first police dog I sold that I would probably have to give the dog away or donate the dog to the department because I was an unknown in that part of the country where I was trying to place that dog at. I said, nobody donates me dog food. Right. Nobody donates me training material, stuff like that. I said, you know, come test the dog, man, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And he came and tested out, and I still sell that guy dogs to this day.
Oh, wow. Great. Yeah.
And it's to add on to that, to sell to certain departments, there's certain things you can say to certain trainers and they'll know whether they want to deal with you or not. And it's just the way the world is set up, the dog world is set up with those guys, you know. And over the years, just building relationships, I know what they want. I know what they're looking for. I've sold them dogs before. If I don't have them, nothing that fits what they're looking for, I tell them I ain't got nothing right now. And then they go on to the next, if they can find another vendor or something, you know.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is the, I guess you got different disciplines on way you train like a police dog than would you would do a protection dog? Certainly. Okay.
Yeah. To me, and the way I was taught and the way I just saw it evolve and I've evolved my program, a police dog will see things no other dogs in any other disciplines will see because he's on the street, different people, drugs, people running from, nobody wants to get arrested. So they'll do whatever they need to do to get away from that dog. So that dog has to be trained a little different than a sports dog. Mm-hmm. People can argue the fact all they want. I've seen it. I've done it. I know what it is here, and it carries over to the places that I sell dogs. A sport dog only sees a certain amount of things. Even the PSA 3 dogs, the Mondio dogs, those are routines. They only do certain things in those routines. There's nothing blanket coverage when a police dog goes out on the street and tries to get somebody. So you have to train them for everything. Like I'll give you an example. My puppies that I raise, I'll turn the sprinkler on and I'll put a bowl of food out in the middle of the yard with the sprinkler on. Mm-hmm. Now, teaching the dog to work when they're uncomfortable is for a lot of dogs. Some dogs don't want to get wet. They don't like that feeling of getting wet. But the food drive for them to eat should override that being uncomfortable with that lit water hitting on them. Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Yeah.
So here's the food of water. Here's the bowl of water. Food, middle of the yard, the sprinklers going all over them, and they'll just stand there and they'll eat and it doesn't bother them. So after a few times, that's nothing. So they learn to work in the rain. They learn to work when they're uncomfortable.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
You follow? So some people don't have any idea of doing things like that. And I've been posting videos like that for many years, man, you know. And what irritates me as a trainer, and as I'm 54 years old and been doing this for forever and a day, is when other guys see stuff like that and they go do it, but they don't tip their head and say, hey, I got this idea. I saw a guy in Louisiana do it. They don't even have to say my name.
Yeah.
I saw a guy in Louisiana do something like this. And hey, man, that's a hell of a tip. You know, it's a few men in this dog community that I will tip my hat to. And I talk to those guys on the regular and I let them know that I appreciate our talks over the years, our friendship that we've built over the years. One guy in particular, Baton Canine, and I'll throw some names. I don't know if that's okay or not, but I'll throw the names out there to some of these people. Mark Lemur is a guy I've been knowing Mark for 26, 27 years. Mm-hmm. And I'll call Mark and talk. And then sometimes we'll go 2 or 3 months and not talk. But when he picks up the phone, I call him, or I have a question, or you're just kicking an idea around. We talk as if we just talked yesterday. There's no problem. Mm-hmm. Baton Canine has been this close to 50 years training. Mm-hmm. And I know 16, 17 years without talking to Mike. The guy name is Mike. I called him up one day and his wife says, this is John out of Louisiana. Now Joe, it's had to be at least 15, 16 years I talked, maybe longer that I talked to that guy. Mm-hmm. And when she picked the phone up, I told her who I was. I said, "Can I speak to Mr. Mike?" And I said, "This is John from." She said, "John from Louisiana." I said, "Yes, ma'am. How you been doing?" As if we just talked a month ago. And when Mr. Mike got on the phone, we talked and, you know, kicked up some more ideas, some more old conversations. And I learned a lot from that guy just talking to him on the phone. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Mike, if nobody has never told you, man, I appreciate you answering the phone and you talking and us able to kick ideas around. If nobody has ever told you thank you, I'm telling you thank you." That's giving homage to the guys that I learned some stuff from. And tipping my hat to those guys. With some of these younger guys, man, they're so disrespectful and they just take these ideas and run with it. And I certainly understand it's a different world nowadays, you know.
Yeah. They hella disrespectful, bro.
They are. They're very disrespectful.
No dealings with them.
Yeah, no, I can't talk to them, man. Now, I've had a couple of guys over the years that I tried to teach a few things to, and after a couple of weeks, they think they know more than me. You know, and I tell them, man, I probably forgot more than you know. Yeah. You know,
we deal with the youngsters challenging the people with 20, 30, 40 years all the time in my breed. You know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They get in a year or two and they think they're going to blow everybody away.
Yeah.
With what they know, or I'm coming in like this and I'm just going to take over. I've seen so many of them come and go, man. Oh man, I've seen so many of them come and go, and if they just ease back, man, they got nothing but time, you know. But they want to hit it hard enough, and what I figured out it is, Joe, they want to hit it hard enough and get the most they can get before they either get busted out. Or people start realizing they don't know what they're doing, and then they just kind of fizz away, you know. And I think that's what most of it is, you know. So you know, just going on that take with people that have been in the industry a long time that I know. I've talked to some of the biggest name people that they are. I moved to California for a while, and not knowing Michael Ellis' school was from my wife's job. Probably 2 miles down the road.
Oh, really?
A friend of mine told me. He said, "Man, you're right there close to Michael L." I said, "Where?" So I get on the phone and I look it up, and it's in the same road, 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
So I go down to where his school is, and he has people that live on the campus. They call it a campus. And I went there, and he wasn't there, but his wife was there. And I can't remember the lady's name. And I sat there, and that lady, she said, "He'll be back. You're more than welcome to stay here." And we sat in her office, and we talked for 15, 20 minutes before he showed up. He showed up. He took an extra 15, 20 minutes. He talked to me. He said, "John, well, look, you know, I got to go and start this class. You're more than welcome. Whenever you come by, come on by. If I'm free, we'll sit around. We'll talk about it and chop it up." Yeah. I managed to go by one more time. I went over there, and a real nice guy. Real knowledgeable guy.
He seems to be a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice guy.
I've been chatting with him, trying to get him on when we get our schedule together.
Yeah, really nice, real nice guy. Has a school where people can go there and they can stay there and they can learn and, you know, go out if they want to go out and be dog trainers and all that sort of thing or whatever. All that. So him, I've dealt with Mike Sotos for years. I've dealt with I met Ivan down in Florida probably 20-something years ago.
Yeah, Ivan, yeah.
Invited me to his place to train with him the next day. He said, "No, before you go, you come and train with me," and all of that. And I said, "No, we might take out." And I called him about a month later. I told my wife, I said, "You think he remember me?" She said, "I don't know, call him and see." And I called him, and he said, "John, you didn't come to train with me. I was looking for you. And what happened?" And, you know, he remembered, and it was exciting to me because at that time, you know, I was meeting a lot of different people up that were up on that upper echelon of dog training, you know. And I wound up talking to him one more time after that. But, you know, I'm kind of at a stage, and I've been there a while, where I'm not closed-minded to where I can't learn from anybody, but I knows what works for me and my program, you know. And with the different dogs that I've had come through my hands, you know. Mark Lemer, a couple of other big name people, you know. So I know a lot of people overseas that I can get Mal's and Dutchess from, Bouvier's, from the giant schnauzers. But my dealings with those people was cemented many, many years ago, where we never mentioned each other's name, just out of respect for each other. And that's just how we do business, you know. But what I learned from that also was the dogs that I was getting and breeding, I don't need to import a dog, because I got the same stuff right here.
Right.
And that leads me into saying this, Joe, is there are very few trainers that can take a dog from 1 to 10. I think I heard somebody mention this the other day on one of your podcasts. So there's some trainers that can go from 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, and 7 to 10. Because their expertise or their knowledge is only in those little small sections of the 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. The guy that can go from 1 to 10, that's the people that I like to talk to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because there's nothing that we can't talk about that neither one of us knows. If I talk to that guy that only knows 1 to 3, what can he tell me about step 7? Right. Not much, because he doesn't know it. He only knows 1 to 3. Right. You know, and putting the dog together from start to finish, man, takes a lot of time. And where a lot of these young guys are guys that want to get in, they want to learn real fast and want to make the money real quick. They like to jump steps. Right. And they skip steps. So where that comes into, and what I've kind of came up with is, when they want to skip steps like that, they'll lose something there's something lost in the mix. When you're trying to skip steps like that, and you're trying to rush a dog through your program, you're going to lose something. You're going to lose stability is probably the first thing that you're going to lose. So what was that? That podcast was last night where you had the guys with the Borbals and the Corsos. It was 4 of them. Yeah. You took issue with something we was talking about on that. That was the when we was talking about a protection, letting people in your house while a protection dog was out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so let me get your take on that. Okay. It's a personal protection dog. Personal protection is second. So personal means he should go everywhere I go. That dog should go. Mm-hmm. If he comes in the house, if I bring my dog in and somebody comes in, they have a seat. We sit here and talk. My dog will sit between me and them. Mm-hmm. Or if he sits off to the side, my dog never takes his eyes off of that person. Mm-hmm. So if I have to put the dog outside, what purpose does that serve? Just because I let that guy in my house doesn't mean he won't try something. Because me and you, Joe, we can sit here and talk, and you may say something I don't agree with. Now we got a problem. And you gonna put your dog on me? Nah. Say that again. I was like, you gonna put your dog on me then? No. I'm saying if me and you are talking and we have a problem, well, you may have come here with a little, intentions of, well, let's straighten out the issue, that misunderstanding we may have had. Right. And you come here to talk about it, to get it squared away. Right. And then it just doesn't go like that. Mm-hmm. My dog's outside. My dog can't defend me. I'm about 6 feet, about 270. I can handle myself pretty good. Mm-hmm. But what if you got a gun? I don't have my gun. I'm in my house, but my dog can sense something going wrong before it goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And my dog will make that guy change his mind and think twice about what he's about to do. Right. So he's a personal protection dog. So he should be able to, and he's been taught to know when he needs to react to something. So I train my dog 2 ways, yo. The first way I train my dog is to react to the situation tells the dog to react to something. So if the guy stands up, my dog takes a step towards him. So what's the problem? Especially if his voice goes high. Mm-hmm. He takes a step towards him. Hey, man, what's the problem? And I guarantee you, when he looks over there and he see that 100-pound Dutch looking at him, he's going to sit back down. Yeah. If he has the nerve to get up. Hey, you're that says something, how confident you are in your training to trust. It says a lot. A lot of people say they have a dog that's personal protection trained, that's trained for this, and this, and they really don't. Because if your dog was trained to that point, then you wouldn't have to put him up. Because the dog should know when to bite, how to bite, and where to bite. I'm sorry.
I said, once you get done, expound on when, where, and how to bite.
Okay, right. So here's the breakdown on that. So I'm here. You're sitting over on the couch, and we're having that conversation. My dog's here. I teach my dogs when your voice goes up, my dog stands up and perks up. Okay.
Really?
So this isn't nothing that happens overnight. This has to be repetition. And that's where earlier I said guys are trying to skip steps. These steps for a personal protection dog, a police dog, can't be skipped. If it gets skipped, you're going to lose that stability in your dog. So you're over here on the couch. I'm here in my seat. And your conversation gets loud. My dog stands up and perks up, but he's never took his eyes off you from when you walked in anyway. But when your voice gets louder, my dog gets, he gets a little more turned up.
Uh-huh.
And if you stand up, he stands up and he takes a step towards you. That's hey, is there a problem? I don't have to say nothing, Joe. I'll sit back in my recliner right here and we talking and you stand up and my dog catches that. Because I've taught him to catch that sort of thing, where if you stand up or now that's a situation. So that's what they call situational training.
Mm-hmm.
The situation you stood up in this situation, my dog reacts to that situation. And God forbid you take a step towards me.
Yeah.
Just not going to happen.
Right.
Or if it happens, then you got a problem. You got to deal with it, And some people say, oh, well, that's not right. That's why. What's wrong about it?
Mm-hmm.
The situation dictates my dog's reaction to that. And to me, if your dog isn't trained, if you tell me, Joe, your dog is personal protection trained, and I've done this to guys, and I promise you, I've told this story over and over and over. You have to be careful with what you say to people about your dog. Because if Joe tells me my dog is personal protection trained, there's things that I may do to try to test it and see.
Mm-hmm.
Prime example. I had a guy went to a guy's house about a year ago. Oh man, my dog's fully trained. He's this, she's this, and this. She was hot as a firecracker. Mm-hmm. She was ready to bite somebody, but it was a very, very loose handle. So I walked up to the dog. I said, shut up, sit down. And she shut up and she sat down. I turned around and walked off. And I told man, don't tell nobody your dog's fully trained, man, when your dog listen to me. Dog don't know me, never saw me. Dog should have no reaction to what I say or what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think put the guy in shell shocked him, another prime example, and I'll give this secret away, Joe, on how I test guys' dogs when they say their dog is personal protection trained. So you have Corsos, right?
Yes, sir. At
what level of training are they, Joe?
Mine just basic obedience. I'm not on that. Yeah. I'm
okay.
Not, yeah.
Okay. So some of the guys that I've seen on your podcast, they'll say their dog is trained. Say, you sure? You tell me your dog is personal. So whatever I do to him, he should know the reaction, the correct reaction. Yeah. Okay. I'll stand about 3 feet away from him. Say, send the dog. I don't have a sleeve on. I got shorts on and a t-shirt right now. Mm-hmm. Say, send your dog. Well, what do you mean? Said, you told me he was personal protection trained, send him. So the hardest thing for a dog to do, Joe, a bite dog, where most police dogs don't give it, they're going to bite you. But most personal protection dogs, where they fail at is they won't bite a passive person.
Oh, because all that
jumping and irritating them. Yeah. I say, you sure your dog is trained? Yeah, he's personal protection trained. I say, okay, fully trained. And I'll walk up to him and I'll just stand and say, okay, send him. Well, what do you mean? Send him. You said he was trained. Send him. And they don't, it just blows their mind. And hey man, be careful what you tell people about your damn dog. And I'm not doing it to embarrass them, but I'm doing it because they just lacking some knowledge. They don't know. They skipped some of those steps to get to that point. Now I'll go put the sleeve on, and as soon as that dog see me come around the corner where he can see me with that sleeve, that dog's over there going ape shit.
Mm-hmm.
Why your dog firing up because he sees the sleeve? That's all has to do with personal preference, what people choose to do and how they choose to train their dog.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the sleeve comes out, your dog's getting all fired up. He's wasting all that energy over that barking and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like a dog like that. I don't train dogs like that.
Mm-hmm.
My dog, you won't know my dog's fully trained until it's too late.
Right.
Well, what do you mean? But most guys will say, what do you mean, Mims? I don't want you to know he's trained.
Mm-hmm.
We can stand there and talk 20 minutes, and then you make the wrong move and you bit. I don't have to tell him because you made an aggressive move towards me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I heard the guy talk about this last night. When you have a personal protection dog, you have a weapon. That's a weapon you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what your dog is capable of. So, Joe, if I meet you out in public and I got my dog with me and I walk up to you, I'm going to stop about 3 or 4 feet away from you. And I'm going to say, that's far enough, man. And then we can hold a conversation from there. 3 or 4 feet, my reaction time now, I'm old, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
If he jumps, I may be able to get him back, may not. But that I got 3 or 4 feet of cushion to make that correction if he jumps. Or if you make a mistake and try to jump at me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I saw a scenario about what's his Italian guy where he did a scenario where the dog's out in front of him, so he put his hand behind his back. You know, they just assume this is a knife.
Yeah.
So he's doing this to shake the guy's hand. Nothing. Weapon. Now the dog bites because he sees the weapon.
Mm.
I don't think many people saw that video or they paid attention to it or they can't train for it.
Right.
I saw that video, Joe. I called my buddy, said, come over here. I want to try something. And I went out in the yard. I got that down packed because I know where my dog was and what I've done with it. Took my dog about 15 minutes to get that down, to understand that, attack that. If somebody's just playing with their hands like that, there's no harm in that. But when you pull out something in that hand,
bam, yeah,
you messed up.
Yeah.
You know. So and with 3 or 4 feet distance, I can make a correction if it's a mistake. But I'm gonna give people that courtesy to say, "Hey, wait, that's close enough with that dog," because I know how my dog is. You know, and as big as my dog, he died maybe 4 or 5 months ago. But he was a 100-pound Dutch Shepherd and he target, weirdest thing, I don't know, we talked about that earlier today. He target the face. Yeah. If you give him your arm, of course he's going to take that, but then he's going to look up, and wherever he looked, that's where he was going to bite. And 99% of the time it was at somebody's face.
How do you teach targeting at the face?
I'll tell you that off. I'll tell you that off camera.
All right. I know the chat want enough. Okay.
Yeah, but it can be done. There's videos of the guys over in they want to say that's the Czech Republic where they had that helmet and a mask on, mm-hmm. and that's the only spot that dog would target is the face. Mm-hmm. So, quick story, Joe. I've been around the block quite a few times, so I got tons and tons of stories that a lot of people they don't know, man. And I'm dying to give the knowledge to somebody so they can carry it on, at least have a better understanding of dog training. So 30 years ago, there used to be some dogs that were called point and shoot dogs. Okay, I forget what country this was, but these dogs were trained in a way that I've never heard of when I learned about those dogs. Never heard of it. They ate a certain way, they slept a certain way, and they trained a certain way. But they were trained it's like a sniper rifle. And I say that in a lot of my videos and some of the posts. When I teach a call off on my dogs, but I don't count on it. Because it's like a sniper. When that sniper pulls that trigger, that bullet's gone. He ain't calling it back. Mm-hmm. Okay. So these point and shoot dogs from many, many years ago, Joe, many years ago, that particular country never had hostage situations involving like in the banks, politicians, or none of that stuff. Because when they call these dogs in, these dogs get in the building and through the door of the roof. when you know when a bank gets robbed, who are the people standing up? The people in control are the people that's standing up.
Right.
That's the only people. That's the only people that's standing up are the people that's in control. Where these dogs were trained, if they come through the ceiling, when they hit the ground, they'll crawl over all the people sitting down and laying down. The only people they would target was the people standing up.
God, yeah.
And the only target they target right here in the neck. That was their target. And the guys that come in to get that put the dogs in, they shoot the guys standing up and the dogs. They don't call them off. They don't want to get them off. Their thing is to deter that hostage situation. Right. And those dogs were called point and shoot dogs. I've never heard anybody but one other person talk about that in all my years of dog training.
Right. God.
So when people say they train dogs, they know dogs, this, it's a lot. It's some stories and things that go with the dog training to let people know that you really know what you're talking about. You know, now somebody may hear this stuff and they, man, this dude's crazy as hell. Go do your homework, dumbass, and find out, and you'll find it. I promise you.
Yeah.
You know, go do your homework. You know, so on the I got my little cheat sheet here.
Right.
So on the thing of doing homework, there was a guy on here months ago that made a statement that he bought a Dutch Shepherd that was and I won't say the name, but I'll say the scenario if that's cool.
Okay.
He had the best Dutch Shepherd in the history of the breed, he said. The dog won the KNPV Nationals 2 times, he said. Damn lie. A lie, if it ain't never been told a lie, it's a lie 900 times over. I had 3 puppies off of that dog that he said was the best dog in the history of the breed. I put 2 to sleep and I gave 1 away. Because he was the dog itself was tough, but he didn't reproduce his self-worth jack squat.
Yeah.
Okay. So the add-on to that was the dog was sold twice before this gentleman got the dog. And I called the guy and I said, hey, man, you might want to check yourself on what you're saying because that ain't quite right. And you're going to have to replace puppies off. Oh, how do you know? Because I had 3 of them. I put 2 to sleep. The one I gave away, buddy of mine lived out in the country. He didn't even know what kind of dog it was. He just wanted a dog to be out in the country with him. Okay. Compare that dog to another dog, another famous Dutch Shepherd. The famous Dutch Shepherd I'm speaking of, his first breed, he had 10 puppies. All 10 puppies got their PH1 certificate. All 10 of them. The dog this gentleman was talking about, at that time, so that had to be 12, 13 years ago. At that time, that dog was here in the States, had been bred many, many times. And before he got here, he was bred many, many times. Altogether, probably has never produced 10 dogs that got their PH1 certificates. So when I tell people to go look it up and go do your research, in this day and time, it's so easy to do that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And that dog never did. Now that dog, he was a serious dog. I saw the dog twice at the guy's house that imported him into the States. That from my house to that guy's house, 14 and a half hours. I drove it 3 times to go out there and train with him. I saw the dog there. I looked at him, looked him in his eyes. Hell of a dog, but he wasn't nowhere near what the gentleman proclaimed the dog to be. So, you know, without going any further with that one, I don't want to.
Okay, all right.
Have that, you know, to kind of go crazy. So, Joe, here's some stuff I see. Sir?
I said, get it off your chest today.
Oh, yeah, man. I got a lot to get off. So here's some stuff that I see. Another thing that shocks me with a lot of guys is when guys train dogs to jump over a chain link fence in their backyard.
Yeah.
Whether they're just playing, goofing off, or whatever it is. I ask guys when I see them doing things, what's your purpose or why are you doing it? So, oh, I'm doing it because I saw Joe Blow doing it. I saw this guy doing it. Say, so you doing stuff, you see somebody, but you don't know the theory behind it. You don't know why they're doing it. What you're doing, you're creating a problem. Because if your dog has any kind of drive in him, a kid walking down the street bouncing a basketball, that dog, you train that dog to go over that fence. The kid don't see the dog. The dog's not really barking. The next thing that kid sees is the blur. Either he's getting bit or the dog then took the ball out of his hand and scared the shit out of that kid. Now you got a problem on your hand.
Yep.
So if it's not a police dog, Joe, I don't train a dog to jump over a fence.
That's crazy.
and you'd be surprised at the guys that's doing it. Same thing. Many years ago, there was a guy named Jay Raw. I don't know if you heard of him or remember him. No. Hell of a trainer, but he's a hard guy on dogs. Good trainer, but he's hard on dogs. He had everybody crazy about the dogs biting that PVC pipe. And I used to ask guys why are you doing that? Oh, I saw this guy doing it. Oh, I saw this person doing it. Or they see it online. It looks cool, so they want to do it. I said, so you're doing something, you have no idea why you're doing it. And it was a phase. It was just something that came along. They see people doing it, and then everybody, they want to jump on that, and they ride that till it fizzes out. Then they go back to something else. Or the next hot thing comes out, and they want to jump on that. But they don't know the purpose of it or why they're doing it. You know, some guys, I tell them why. Some of them I don't, because they're young, and I can hear it in their voice. They're not going to accept it no way what I tell them. You know, just, hey, man, just keep doing what you're doing until you run into that lawsuit. Your dog kills that kid, and you have to close your eyes every night knowing your dog hurt somebody's kid because of some stupid stuff you saw training. And I'll tell you the reason. I don't know if you know why they do it or not, Joe, but I'll tell you that off because I don't want to get that free education, you know, because when I started doing this stuff and started trying to make sense of it, you know, there's an old saying, the game is to be sold and not told.
Yeah.
You know, so some of it you can give away to get people to see hey, man, this guy's kind of interesting. Let me see what he's got going on. And, you know, then they want to talk to you, and then it becomes business then after that, you know. I guess,
it has to be that way. No one ever comes on and tells everything, because a lot of these fools run with a lot of stuff they hear on my show anyway. And they take bits and pieces and get it wrong.
And they get it wrong. They get it very wrong.
Yeah,
very wrong.
They don't know the inside information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So another thing is, like, guys that train with treats and shock collars and pinch collars. Now, I'm not totally against those things, because that's a tool that you got to have in your little Rolodex, because you may need it one day. You know, but most of the times, you know, if the guys that train with treats, they never wean their dog off of the treats.
Right.
Or if your program is based on it, treats, and this is only my opinion, if you train with treats, a shock collar or pinch collar, you're skipping that bonding step where you get the bond with the dog, and you may not need that. So they'll take a dog in for training, they'll put an e-collar on them or a shock collar on them, or they'll take the treats out first time they take the dog out.
Oh, well.
The dog's not bonding with you. The dog's bonding with that equipment, that extra stuff. You know, prime example, I got a dog back from the military probably 13, 14 years ago. Badass dog. Will put you in the ground, dude. Very serious dog. Very serious. There's a story behind it I can't say, but I'll tell you that off.
Okay. Okay.
But this dog, man, was so strong. He would submit to you about 95%, never 100%. So the way that this goes, he did 2 tours overseas. He came back. He stayed in the kennel a year. He never had a collar on him in a year because he bit 5 or 6 of the guys over at the Air Force Base. Well, a couple of months go by, I wind up with him. Well, I've always been attracted to strong, hard to deal with dogs. Because if I can deal with them at this level, I can certainly deal with them at this level. Well, I got him, and his thing was you wasn't going to take anything from him, Joe. And this is knowledge and years of experience and knowing how to work with dogs. So that's where that 1 to 10 thing comes in at. So I take him out, and I got him on the lead. I throw the ball. He comes back to me, and I pick the lead up, and I give him a little bump and tell him to out. And, you know, before some dogs bite, they'll look at you like that. At the corner of their eye, looking up at you. I mean, you about to get it.
Yeah.
So I saw that. So I put my hand under his mouth. I dropped the leash, and I told him to out. And he gave it to me. And he went into a sit. What he was saying, throw it again, let's play. So I threw it again. He came back, came to a heel, sit, put my hand on his mouth. I said, out. And he dropped it in my hand. We never had a problem after that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But if I would have tried to force it from him, we was going to have a serious problem. So with that being said, a couple other things that happened that I noticed, man, this dog will hurt you. This dog will flat out hurt you. And I knew from experience that trying to take something from him, that's what the problem that he had. But if you ask him for it, he give it to you. And there's a lot of guys that say, oh, man, I'll do him this, or I'll do this, and I'll do this. I'll put a shock collar on him and do this. Well, he was one of those dogs. You hit him with that shock collar too many times, he's coming over there and bite your ass.
Yeah.
You ever ran across one of them?
No, not personally, no.
Joe, they got some dogs, they can associate that shock collar with you, and they know you the one making that pain.
Yeah.
I saw dogs 50 yards down the field. They won't out, they sting him. He let that damn decoy go. He come over there and jump in that dude's chest, bite the shit out of him.
Boy.
You know, so when these guys talk about, oh, I like dogs like this. No, you don't. Like you will be in the hospital because, for one, you're too far away from the foundation of dog training and what it takes to train a dog and handle a dog like that you think you can overpower a dog like that. And that dog, rather than overpower and submit to you 100%, he'd rather fight you. And here's the crazy thing, Joe. I'm spraying his kennel out one day, and he sat there and he chomping at the water. I can see his stomach fill up with water. He back up, turn around and throw the water up, and he come back and he do it again. His stomach fill up. He did that 3 times. His son of a bitch got to be crazy. But what he was telling me was, I'm going to take this ass whooping and I'm going to keep coming back for some more, is what the dog was telling me.
Right.
So I opened the door and let him out the kennel. Man, he came run up to me, man, wanted me to love on him and everything. Well, you was just trying to eat me in the damn water hose up, dude. What kind of shit is this? I think he was a little bit off his rocker, if you ask me, but I learned and I knew how to deal with a strong dog like that, man. And I got 14 patrol dogs off of him.
Really?
Yeah, and some of them at 6 months. One that goes back to what I said earlier about some of those small agencies. I sent 2 dogs there. It was 6 months old. I got a video of it. I'll send it to you later. 6 months old. Those dogs were doing building searches and hitting on all 5 odors that they needed for that department. Both of those puppies, I sent that guy 13 months and a day old. They were dual purpose certified, working the streets in Ohio. And when he got them, he was like, John, if you can send this stuff up here every time. He said, man, I'm buying dogs from you. I ain't shit on the people we've been dealing with. Because he was so impressed with those puppies that came off of that dog that was a little psychotic, you know? Right. So that's just kind of, okay, one of those things, you know? So, other thing is, there's a lot of guys in the industry now, like we said earlier, that don't tip their hat to guys that deserve it. Okay. There's a guy out in Dallas, Fort Worth area named DeJuan Fields. He's an old pit bull guy. He's he trains from, what is that? One of those ring sports, Mondio ring or French ring, one of them ring sports. He's beaten some of these big name people. Dave Corrigan, he outpointed him twice. I don't know if you ever heard of Dave Corrigan. He's hell of a trainer. hell of a trainer, man. Very knowledgeable about pit bulls, patterdales. What's the other patterdales? Another one of those little old terrier dogs. I told him I was going to buy me a couple of them from him.
Yeah,
and Malinois, Dutch Shepherds.
Yeah.
Not a patterdale. What's that other little? Looks like a patterdale, but I think he's got an extra gear than a patterdale.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. God, I can't remember the name of that dog. Little kind of long hair dog. Damn,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of that dog for nothing, man. I know what you're talking about.
But he breeds those dogs, man. But the one is a hell of a trainer, man. And I've never heard anybody tip their hat to him. If they did, I might have missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But we can tip our hat to other people, to me, that don't deserve it. Because from some of those other people, all I just hear about what people say about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you hear the good and bad of it, you know, and most of the time it's the bad. But you know, some of these people like the one and Mr. Mark, the guy up at Baton Canine, I tip my hat to them guys, man, because they are what they are, and they stand on that stuff, you know, like them youngsters say, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've proven it. You know, they've proven themselves, you know. Okay, how many people came and went? Well, I got so much. I got about 4 sheets wrote down here, Joe. We ain't gonna do all 4 tonight.
Okay, we could double back on it.
Yeah. So some of the bandwagon riders.
Let me come. Well, go ahead. I'll ask this later. Go ahead.
Okay. So some of the people that ride the bandwagon, they jump on all the different fads that go on. What I do, I know it holds true because I've been doing it for forever and a day. So eventually, with all the other systems, so-called training systems, the NEPO system, what do I need to go and learn what this guy called NEPO system? You can only teach it to sit, stay down, come back when you call him, walk on a leash. I need to go and learn a system to teach a dog the basic of basics. Sit, stay down, and come here. Stop doing that. What system? There's all these different so-called systems. People put names on them. And the people that they like to be lied to, that's what it is. People like to be lied to. Mm-hmm. So they go run over here. They go run over here. There's a couple of different ways to teach a dog to sit and down, but I don't need to go and pay $15,000 to go to a school for you to tell me that. Mm-hmm. Get with somebody local in your area that you feel good with. And this is how I tell people that: talk your talk and walk your walk, or at least close to it. That you can put up with and learn from that person. Instead of going to all these different places and different seminars every week. Joe, you start off training your dog your way. I start my way. Somebody start their way. CT start his this way. Brandon Evans up in Chicago do this. So we all get together as a million ways to the mall to get to the mall. If I tell you, Joe, meet me at the mall at 9 o'clock, I got $1 million for you. You're going to find a way to get there. Now, dog training, I think, is the only industry where us as trainers, we can beat other trainers up by how they do stuff. But if he tells his dog to sit and the dog sits, then it's mission accomplished. Yeah. I think the problem, what we have, is with all the bullshit that comes with it. Yeah. You know, all the hype that comes with it. Right. You know, all the other stuff that comes with it, the different breeds that have different problems. Now, I don't know how true this is. A buddy of mine told me this about Boerboels, and I'm not trying to kill any of those guys' program or throw dirt at them or anything. But I heard those dogs get sick and they crash and burn in a day or two. And it's not parvo, it's something genetically in some of those dogs that happens to. Have you ever heard that, Joe? No, but I know a lot of these breeds be having all kind of issues like Corso epilepsy is running through there. Really? Wow. That degenerative disease, I can't think of it right now. But yeah, but no, I don't follow the Boerboel very much, you know. Yeah. I met a guy and he told me, he said he had 4 of them and they overnight just crashed and burned. Oh yeah. Something else too, heart problems in the Corso. That could be something with the Boerboel dropping dead. Boop. Just get out. So the pressers, what I've heard about the pressers, I've seen a couple of them. I was impressed with them. They're pretty good dogs. The guy out here, Richard the Bear, has some nice looking dogs.
Oh yeah.
But I heard when they hit 4 or 5 years old, it's like a light switch. The health problems just drop on them. I don't know.
Not Richards per se.
I'm sorry.
Not Richards per se, just in general.
Just in general. Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but just we're talking dog talking, just stuff I've heard.
Right,
you know, the guy that told me that imported some from the Canary Islands. He lives in Miami.
Yeah,
and he wanted to give me 3 of them. He said, "John, come get them. I'm tired of dealing with them. They're too big. I'm tired of feeding these some, but you can have them. Come get them." And he said, "But I'm gonna tell you this," and that's when he gave me the scoop on them. So this isn't coming from hearsay from different people that have never seen them or never dealt with them. It's a guy that actually had some in, and they were 4, 5, 6 years old when he tried to give me those dogs, and I just, just not my cup of tea, man. Because when you get to me, when you get a Mal or a Dutch and that dog moves at the speed that they move, man, and they learn at the pace that they learn, it's hard to go back to something else. It's just a different dog, Oh,
yeah. And I heard something about the presser's teeth fall out a lot and everything like that. So,
oh wow, yeah. And I guess with all the health checks that the guys do, the responsible guys that breed them. You can cut down on that and limit that and push it way back, if not push it out of the breed that the ones that they have,
Right.
But it's just the difference of dogs and what people are willing to accept and what they know and what they're willing to do their homework on. I'll tell you, one of the smartest dogs I ever owned was a Tosa Inu.
Really?
Man, when I tell you that the guy and I tip my hat to this guy's name, Donald Stocks. He used to breed them many, many years ago. Joe, here's the story. You get a kick out of this.
Okay.
I saw there was a thing on 20/20 or 60 Minutes. My son's 26, so this was probably 27 years ago, before he was born. Yeah, so it's 27 years ago. I saw a 20/20 or 60 Minute thing on him, and it was a Japanese drug lord that had the best fighting Tosas over there. All right. And I looked at them. I said, what? I got to get one. I had to have me a Tosa because I was so impressed with them. Okay. So I started making calls to people here in the States trying to find them. And I talked to a guy in Tennessee, I think. He had Donald used to live in Oregon at the time. He gave Donald my number. Donald called me. Donald said, "Hey man, I got one. We talked." He said, "I got one I seen." And at the time, I think the dog was 4 years old. Okay. And we worked a deal out on him, and he sent the dog to me. The dog name was Arazi. Arazi was probably 150, 60 pounds when I got him. I get him to the house. I called Donald. I'm on the phone with him. I said, "Donald, what you doing sending me this goddamn Shetland pony, man?" Yeah. So, God damn, dude. I said, I knew those dogs were big, but I had no idea they were that big. Right. So he said, what is he doing? Is he barking at you in the crate? I said, no. He says, open the crate and walk away from him and let him come out. I said, you trying to get me killed? He said, no, man, open the crate and walk away. And that's it. If he was going to do you something, he'd be tearing that crate up right now. So, man, I opened the crate, I turned around, and I walked out in the yard, and I looked back, and he's following me everywhere I go in the yard. And I'm talking to the guy at the same time. He says, turn around and pet him on the head and tell him to sit down. And I did that. He said, did he do it? I said, he said, he yours. I'll talk to you later. Call me back on the phone.
Yeah.
So I take him out, man. I mean, he's out, we playing, and I never had a problem with him. Donald had did a lip training with him, did a little sleeve work with him and everything, but had him house trained and everything. So I just took him up a notch. I put that light switch in him. When I told him, let's go, he went from 0 to 1,000 in the bat of an eye. When I told him to turn it off, he went from 1,000 to 0 in the bat of an eye. If I'm sitting here at my little table eating dinner and I got up and walk out of the room, he would get up and come out of the room with me. Because for one, he was my personal protection dog.
Mm-hmm.
For two, he knew not to fool with that food that was on that stand.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever I went, he went.
Mm-hmm.
I teach my puppies that in the yard now. Wherever I go in that yard, they go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody might try to jump the fence and do me something. You need to be over here to take care of that problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But that was he was in every sense of it, he was a toser. You know, I'd take him out to the big pet store, man, and people would just they didn't. Of course, nobody here knew what a toser was.
Right.
You know, I tried to call around to find some people to get a female to breed to him, and because they knew Donald and they knew Donald would match his dogs, nobody would sell me a female.
Mm-hmm.
Could never get a female. There was a lady in Tennessee that bred him. There was a guy in New York, and I want to say it was a guy in Florida. I specifically remember talking to the lady in Florida in Tennessee. Oh, you got one of Donald's dogs? Hell no, I wouldn't dare sell you a dog. They hated Donald for that. You know, they just because he held the dogs to what they were bred for, to their true standards of what the AKC didn't change it.
Right.
At that time, they didn't. Eventually, you know, AKC get their hand on any breed, they're gonna change what the dog was originally bred for. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But a Tosa Inu, man, I had that, and I kept that dog. He got sick to the point where he couldn't walk, man. His back end would just kind of fall, and I didn't want to take him to get put down, man. I just made him nice and comfortable and let him pass at the house, man.
Yeah.
And he was so dominant, though, Joe. Even in his last 2 hours of living, he'd hit other dogs bark. He's just laying there, and you see that lip go up.
Yeah.
You know, he was a Billy Badass, dude. He was a Billy Badass, man.
Yeah.
You know, so different breeds. You know, I've had my experiences with different breeds. I've trained a standard poodle. Might have weighed 80 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big a guy you are, Joe, but I'm telling you, you wouldn't want to meet him on your best day and his worst day.
Mm-hmm. I'm about the same size as you, yeah.
That dog would bite you, eat you from your ass to your appetite.
Yeah.
You know, like Michael, like Mystical said, so we eat you from your ass to your appetite, dude.
Yeah.
You know, just really bad that he was just tough, and all that comes from that 1 to 10 thing. So you can take any breed. I believe this to the day I die. I believe this. I can take a dog. I can take a dog that wasn't genetically bred to do certain things, and I start him out so young and make it a game and make it fun and exciting to, as we go along, that stuff that he was bred to stay in the back. It'll never come to the front. Everything that I teach him stays up front. Right. You know, so I told you earlier, like a Corso, I had Corso pups almost a year ago, and I taught him how to, on my truck outside, teach him how to have one of them. She just picked it up and ran with it, man. She searched the whole truck, had to come in the house searching for drug odor. I put him for 4 odors. Yeah. Corsos aren't known for narcotics odor. Now, maybe something else, go and find somebody with narcotics odor for a Cane Corso. I've never seen it. Mm-hmm. You know, some people look at some of my techniques and they say, man, what the hell is dude doing? Like, I'll take 2 cardboard boxes and I'll tape them together and I'll put a spot out in it. So he has to go from the back to the front of it. I'll put something over here that I want him to learn. And I'll put that box out and I'll poke a couple of holes in it. So that dog learns to go in a confined, dark space to get to the reward that's at the other end of that box. So if the police kick my door in and the lights out, I've seen dogs won't go in the dark room. But because I put that box out when they were 5-6 weeks old and taught them to go in confined dark spaces, it's never a problem. It has never failed them.
That's a game right there.
They never failed them, man. And I've had people that, oh man, Mims, I don't like it. You say what you want to say, but ain't no dog that I've trained that I've sold to any of the other trainers or any of the guys with the big contracts have failed certification. At least I haven't heard of none of them. None of them never told me none of them didn't pass. You know, But that little trick of putting cardboard boxes together and poking holes in it, and the odor that I want him to find is in this one, but he has to go through that box may be 5-6 foot long if I put 5 or 6 of them together.
Mm-hmm.
So that dog has to learn to go through that dog confined space and get over here to where that is. And in that eating, getting at that food, whatever I put in there that I want them to learn, whether I start them off with food, then once they get the concept of going in there, then I put the odor in there. Mm-hmm. So they learn to go in there. So now when it's 7-8 months later, and I ask them to go in a confined dog space, it's nothing because they've been doing it since they were 4 weeks old.
Right.
You know, it becomes nothing, second nature. You know,
how much is important for putting it into the puppy early as possible?
The earlier you can start a pup, I usually wait till they're 4 weeks old.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Okay. And then I start giving it to them. So
yeah.
Here's the problem where guys have, I see they run into a lot of problems. You see guys now, they want to do stuff younger and younger and younger. So KNPV title is the only sport dog title, and it ties into the question you asked. A KNPV title, which they call it, a lot of them call it KNPV title or PH1 title. The dog has to be at least 2 years old before he goes for certification. Mm-hmm. So that means the dog has been training, and those guys overseas, they train 5-6 days a week religiously, every day, for 2 years before they go try it. I had a PH1 certificate dog that came from Mike Soto's. He didn't go certified until he was 4. Now, why they waited that long? Maybe he was a little stubborn, a little hard-headed, couldn't get one of the little drills down, and it just took him. They wanted to make sure he was solid, because if those guys go and go to take the certification, the dogs don't pass. They don't even take them home. Mm. They're gonna sell them, give them away. He gonna disappear or something. He ain't going back to their house. You know, and some guys don't want to hear that. But right. Those, you know, you have to take those steps to put those dogs like that together. And I start at 4 weeks old, and I just give them a little bit. And if I see it's too much, I'll back step, and I'll work them there until I see them ready. Then I'll try it again, and then we just go and go and go. And I don't like to skip steps. Sometimes if I see a dog, I'll have an exceptionally well-talented dog. Well, I may be able to skip steps, but being a good trainer, you have to know what steps to skip and when to try to skip to get over that. Mm-hmm. But all that depends on the dog. You know, I saw a video where I had do you remember that show that was on TV called Alpha Dogs that was done by that guy up in Indiana at Von Lick Kennels? They had a dog. It was they were showing dogs going through some military procedures and just did how they train police dogs and stuff. It was called Alpha Dogs.
I've never seen that, no, sir.
Okay, well, they had a video of a dog that was a dog. I want to say that dog was a street dog. He was already on the street, but he wouldn't go in the water to go across the pond to get to that bad guy on the other side of the pond. Mm-hmm. Shit, I got a dog to do that. That's what I'm saying to myself. That was on a Wednesday or Thursday. I saw the video. I called it. I said, "Hey, bro, I'll be out there at 6 o'clock Saturday morning. We training. All right, bring your ass." We go out there. I think that dog was 5 months old at the time on the other side of the pond. I said, "Let him go." He let him go. That dog jumped in the water. All you can see is that little head coming across the water.
Yeah.
When he get out, I just kind of take off running. It's all a game at that stage, Joe, but I'm setting that in his mind. I can get it done.
Yeah.
You know, that same video I sent to that guy, I emailed that show. Say, "Hey, is this what you were trying to get that dog to do that he wouldn't do?" So been send me an email back to him. You don't never send them an email of a dog like that.
Right.
They didn't want to do it. Because they thought at that time that the name of that kennel was Von Lick Kennels, that show was made from. Mm-hmm. You know, that guy keeps about 150 dogs on his place at any one time. 150, you know, has a lot of government contracts, you know, Kenny is the guy's name. But the younger you start dogs, and where guys they want to push too hard, too fast, and they ruin a lot of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And you just take your time, man, and slow down. You'd be amazed at what you get on the back end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So feeding the dog. I heard another guy out of Chicago. He doesn't know Mr. Edmonds, but he's from Chicago. Same idea we do. We take one of those little kiddie swimming pools that the little babies get in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take some food, I'll put it in the middle and set it on a cinder block.
Mm-hmm.
And so that for a puppy 5-6 weeks old, he gets in that water's up to his neck. He's standing in that water, eating out of that food bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting him used to water and swimming, being uncomfortable and being wet at 5-6 weeks old. He'll get in the water to eat. So some people say, oh, when will that ever happen? Mm-hmm. It may not never happen, but it's a confidence builder. It's teaching him to work when he's uncomfortable. My dogs are eating. I'm sitting there spraying them with the hose pipe while they're eating. Mm-hmm. It's nothing. That food is more important than this water hitting you.
Right.
So some people see the good in it. Some people don't. Some people don't understand it. Mm-hmm. But it pays dividends at the end. I promise you. It'll pay big dividends,
Yeah.
Pay big dividends. So that feeds into this one. The dogs that bite and hold. There's a big controversy on dogs that bite and hold and dogs that multiple target and bite.
Okay. Is that because I see that too, and it happens a lot on this show. Let me say it like this: the personal protection guys seem to want the dog to hit multiple spots. Now, sports is supposed to be bite and hold, right? Because this actually a sport, right?
That's the theory of it. They want them to bite and stay in one spot. But if you ask them, Joe, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you the answer offline. Okay. And the reason I'll tell you offline is because I guarantee you 85% of the people that see this, they don't know why they want a dog to bite and stay in the same spot. I'll tell you that. So when people tell you that and you hear it, then you'll say, no shit.
They're going to be mad at you if you don't tell them.
The hell it's to be sold, not told.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but here's the theory. Baton Canines, he teaches his dogs to not take a beating. So what I mean by that is, if you gotta get this, his dogs, when they come in, they target the weapon hand. Whichever hand you got the weapon in. It's a smart dog to be able to target a hand that's holding the weapon. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if I give up one of those dogs that like to bite and stay in the same place, if I give him this arm and I got this stick, I'll break his back. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these guys are under the assumption that a dog should stay in that one spot and take a beating because he's biting so hard, he's taking a lot of pressure, and he's putting out a lot of pressure that the guy won't be able to do nothing anyway. Biggest lie ever told. One of the biggest lies ever told. Give an example. A friend of mine's a cop down in Slidell. Guy's about 6'5", high on meth. They call him out with his dog. He's sitting that dog screaming at him. He's like, look, man, get down on him and send the dog. This guy's standing there just as calm as they. He said, man, don't send that dog over here. You're going to get him hurt. They got 15 police officers out there, but nobody want to go over there and challenge this big rascal, right? But he's just standing there. He said, man, don't send your dog over here. You're going to get your dog hurt. So they have to give three preparatory commands is what it's called. You have to give the guy 3 chances to get down or give up. Mm-hmm. The 4th time he tell him he send the dog over there. Dog jumps up right in here. He said, John, you can hear this guy, the muscles tearing in his arm. Mm. That's how hard his dog was biting him. Mm-hmm. The guy just looked at him, looked at the dog, and looked at him, said, man, get your dog before I hurt him. And he said when he saw the guy ball his fists up, he knew the guy was serious. He called his dog off. The guy went on, got cuffed up. So as a canine handler, he has to go to the hospital, take pictures, and get his report stuff and all that together. So he gets to the hospital, that dope was wearing off. The guy hollering, screaming like a baby now where that dog jumped up in here.
Mhm.
But the danger of him jumping here and staying here, and this guy could have done whatever because he wasn't feeling the pain at that time.
Yeah.
Go figure, man. So Baton Canine teaches dogs to and been doing it for 50 years, man. To counterbite is what it's called.
Counterbite. Okay, that's the
Counterbiting.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I want a dog to counterbite because, Joe, if I send my dog at you and he bites you here, you throw your hand up. Most of the street bites police dogs get, they trying to get the dog. Don't protect their face. So quite naturally, the dog's going to bite up in here.
Mhm.
Not going to bite like this. It's like this, trying to protect their face.
Right.
Okay? So Baton Canine teaches his dogs to come in, get a bite. If he bites in, you able to throw him off. You ever saw, you know what spaghetti look like when that shit gets shredded like this?
Oh, yeah. Whew.
And he doesn't teach his dogs to bite. Everybody wants to teach their dogs to bite deep on a bite. Everybody wants this deep bite like this. Baton Canine teaches this, to bite with those four canine teeth.
Yeah.
That's where the damage is done at. Because if you can sling him off, he's just shredding this open.
Yeah.
And then if he come off here and you got something in your hand, that dog will run around. I saw this. I went to a training with that man 27 years ago when he was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
His dogs will run around you in a circle. You ain't getting away from them. That's for sure. And if you got something and you trying to hit them, then you'll see them. They'll duck and dodge them hits. But people that's new to this game of dog training, oh man, that's scary. The dog won't engage in this. No, the dog has been taught not to take a beating.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of guys don't know also is when these police officers send their dogs into bad situations and those dogs get hurt, they get that dog taken away from them 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you cost the city money. That dog's got to go have surgery, may not be able to work again. That's $15,000, $20,000 you just threw away because you sent a dog in a bad situation. Why are you gonna send a dog at a guy and he got a knife in his hand?
Right.
You asking for your dog to get hurt.
But Mr. John, if you look at it, a lot of those police dogs, I would say, don't counterbite.
It's a legal reason for that. I'll tell y'all.
Oh man, don't do me like that.
Don't do you like that.
Chat. We got we got to get to put his cash app up or something.
Man, it's up, man. And when I tell you, Joe, you're gonna be like, then the light bulb will go off.
Yeah.
To it, okay. Mm-hmm. So, if my dog bites you 5 or 6 times if you break in my house, when you get to the doctor, they ain't gonna know where to start at. Because that motherfucker done damage on both legs, both arms, your stomach, your ass, or wherever else he done bit you. Mm-hmm. That's multiple targets. So I want that. That's what I want. When they go to the hospital, where we start at? You wasting time. I hope your ass bleed out. You done broken my house and threatened me and my family, But a dog that bites and stays right here, that's the only situation they got to worry about right here. I want them some bitches to try to figure out where they want to start sewing on your ass at, and that's your personal preference,
right?
Teach a dog to bite, and I can remember this, Joe. This is some of the stuff I used to do when we were young and dumb and just wild and full of energy and stuff like that. So I was taught to teach a dog to bite where I tell him. So we used to have competitions in the neighborhood like this. Whatever you give him, I tell him, bite the other arm. If he was on this arm, I said, get the other arm. He'd go to this arm. Tell him, get his leg. He'd come off this and he'd get your leg. Get the other leg. I had video of this stuff. I had a house fire many, many years ago, and I lost a lot of old video of this stuff. Man, that we had some of the stuff that I used to do. And man, me and my kids' mom, it was a rough time because I lost a lot of that information,
Yeah.
But I used to teach dogs to bite a specific part of the body. If he was on your ankle, I'd let him go and get the other one. And I'd tell him that, and he would do it. So guys will ask, well, how do you do that? How simple is it, Joe? If the dog's biting here and I say, get on the other arm, I choke him out and put him on the other arm.
Yeah.
Get on his leg, pick him up out, and the whole time I'm getting him off, I'm telling him where to go.
Yeah.
So after a while, it becomes second nature to a dog, you know? And some guys don't understand that. See, this week been going a while, Joe. I'm gonna cut it short here in a second.
Okay.
But here's another thing. Here's another thing about that. If I send a dog and I can teach a dog to bite from one spot to another spot to another spot, that takes time. And guys don't want to put that work in to do that, to put that much work into a dog. But back in the day when I used to do that, I had a lot of help. It was fun to teach a dog to do that, to know that I can teach a dog to bite you here, bite you there, this, that, you know, and bite a certain spot, you know, or whatever. Some of those dogs, like I told you earlier, point and shoot dogs, that was a fun dogs to bite, to teach a dog to tell. You know, do you know why dogs want to bite people in the face?
Well, for what I've been told, is trainers teaching them with their hands. You know, what you got?
The threat is coming from your eyes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm looking at you, dog, and you looking at me. You got a problem with this first. That's the first problem a dog has a problem with. You ever saw a real wolf, Joe?
Not.
Have you ever encountered? I saw one, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. It ain't been many animals that scared me. I grew up in the project, Joe. I had snakes, iguanas, fish, hamsters, birds, parrots. I had all that. You ain't supposed to have that living in no public housing, man.
Yeah, right.
But I did.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was connected with some folks, and we had, you know, they didn't bother us. But when you have experience with different dogs, different animals, you see different things. And I was always told a wolf will look you in your eyes and stare you down, and he will make you turn your head away from him. A friend of mine had a wolf. This was probably 6 years ago. And he had one, and I went over there. I said, man, I don't see him. And he called that wolf name and made some old weird ass noise. And the dog looked like he looked around like this, the wall. So I'm standing back this way. That dog looked around. I'm looking at Ken. The dog looked around there and looked at me like this, Joe. And I took a step back, bro. That goddamn wolf, man, that son of a bitch was, he was so big and scary. And when he looked at me and I looked at him and I tried to stare him down to make him move. Nothing, dude. No blinking, no nothing. That joker just looked at me, man, and looked like he was looking straight through me. And I can honestly say that was one of the only animals that ever scared me like that, man. I catch snakes out in the yard, and I ain't scared of them.
Right.
I done had some of the worst dogs in the world, man. I'll walk up to your dog and take the leash from you and go walk him. Or I'll try it.
Yeah.
You know, but that damn wolf, dude, shit, man. Them dogs' eyes, man. So
yeah,
that's where a lot of, you know, dogs bite people. I teach them to target the face. If my dog don't target the face, I don't want him. You see a lot of them guys, they lean in on the bites like this. So you see where my face is?
Yeah.
To me, why bite this when I can get this? It's right there. It's same distance. Right here, right here, right here. You know, and they're teaching that pocket bite.
Yeah.
Here and here.
And that actually disarm a person anyway, because if something going for your face, your natural reaction is, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gonna get out the way, man. And then a lot of guys, they do table work. So I asked guys, I said, why are you doing that table work? So to me, there's two reasons the guys do table work: to make a dog bite or to turn him up a notch or two. If I got to put a dog on the table and hit him with a whip to make him want to bite, that ain't the dog I want, because you're going to lose some stability in doing that, you know? So it's, you know, just kind of a personal preference. Some people want them. And the guys that do that, man, you notice those dogs have very little control, you know? So they put them up on a table. I'll get down on the floor with the dog and do some agitation on the ground. Because they take them off the table. Some of those dogs, once you put them back on the ground, you still got the problem. I'm standing over him. I'm still intimidating to most of them.
Okay. So you keep your dogs off the platform.
I never use the platform.
Okay, good. Okay.
I never use it. You know, I just get on the ground and do it. I want a dog to bite you because he wants to bite you, not because I have to make him bite you. There's a difference, Joe. There's a difference in a dog that wants to hurt you than a dog that's been forced to hurt you. You know, that's like I tell people, Muhammad Ali, he got beat up and he told his mom or dad he got tired of beating up, put him in boxing so he can learn how to box to defend himself. And look how skilled and proficient he was at what he was doing. It's because he wanted to. They didn't. Was he forced to? Not really, because he could have just took the ass whooping and kept on going. But he made the conscious decision. I want to do this, and that he just. So you look how much better he was than a lot of them. You know, so you know, just some of that stuff like that, man. That where we go through this thing. As we see some of these guys that train dogs, they have a better delivery. They have a better platform. I'm not too sharp on like doing a podcast. You know, we hooked up on it, but if I had to set it up, probably never would get done. You know, and I guess that holds me back to a certain point. You know, I don't talk people's talk. I don't lie to people. I don't bullshit them and tell them, oh man, yeah, your dog's this, and this. I've told so many people, man, I wouldn't even feed that damn dog. He wouldn't drink another cup of water at my house. He wouldn't do it, you know, because he's not earning his keep, you know. And I'm not going to pretend that he's a dog, the dog that he should be or want to be when he's not. Because if the shit hit the fan, he going somewhere. A dog is only as good as his foundation. Joe, you ever heard that saying?
Yes, sir.
Only as good. If he got a shitty foundation, when the shit hit the fan, he getting out of it. He looking for somewhere to go.
Yep.
You know, when you put a dog on the table, there's two places he can go. He can go out and bite you because he's scared of what you're gonna do to him, or he'll bag up in that box and he won't do nothing. So you had to make him come out and do it. You know, or once you get a dog biting and he's on the ground, put him in the box to turn him up a notch. And I can tell by the way the dog's reacting in that box if he's doing it because he wants to do it, or if he's doing it because he's been made to do it. Big difference. Yeah, it's a big difference, and I can see it. So can a lot of other people. You know, a lot of us old timers, especially. You know, if you want to get some more deep knowledge and a better understanding. I'll put you in touch with Mark Lehman. You interview that and he's a white guy, and he will, which means nothing to me. You know, I treat people how they treat me. But you talking about a fountain of knowledge, man? Jesus H. Christ, dude. You know, DeJuan Fields is another one. The wealth of knowledge, man. Wealth of knowledge. You know, and these are people that I've built friendship with over the years, man, that have stood the test of time. I'm talking well over 20 years I've dealt with these guys. Yeah. You know,
you're also friends with CT's Touch, Horses and Dogs.
CT, I started talking to CT maybe a year or two ago. We talked a little bit, you know, and I saw some of his stuff, and you know, we called and talked. I want to say I offered him a Malinois. He said, John, I ain't ready for that. I ain't ready. Yeah, he said he wasn't ready for it, but I was going to. I'll give him one of them, man. But I know what it's going to do. It's going to make him get rid of his shepherds, and he ain't going to do that, you know. Yes, sir. But yeah, Joe. So it's been a pleasure, man. And I may have missed some stuff, but it's been a pleasure, man.
Hey, let's do it again because I want to get to some stuff. I want to talk about.
Yeah, you say you had one thing. You want to hit one of them right quick? What you got?
Well, okay, so. I'll let you decide. The difference between a balancing hot dog and your thoughts on prey versus defense. So either one of those subjects, you can take it.
Okay, what was the first one?
Balance. Difference between a balanced and a hot dog, and or prey and defense. Either one of those.
Okay, I hit on the prey and defense right quick.
Okay.
So this is how I break prey and defense down to people. when a wild dog or a leopard, a cheetah, one of those big cats, or even hyenas or wolves, they leave the puppies in the den and they go out and hunt. And some of them, they'll go out and they'll catch a rabbit or a little small deer, and they'll hurt them just enough where it can't get away from the pups, right? Mm-hmm. They'll bring it back to the pups, and then the mama drop it, and they'll back up and they'll see how the pups react to it. Mm-hmm. So what drive is it in those pups that tries to kill that little thing, that whatever it is the mom bought? That's prey drive. They want to kill that prey. Right. So over time they become real good at it. The mom brings it back. So I've watched those nature shows, man. I've been into that stuff since we had the TV. And I look at dogs on a psychological level, on a whole different level than a lot of people. When I train dogs, sometimes, Joe, I go out and I don't say anything to the dog. I think what I want, and I'm looking at the dog, and I say, look, I want you to go and find this thing when I hide it. Not verbally, but I'm saying it in my mind. Mm-hmm. And I look at the dog, and that's what I'm saying. And I go hide it, and he'll go find it. Mm-hmm. So I think with that stuff on a whole different level than a lot of people, man. So sometimes I talk over people's head, and I've had them tell me this. Say, John, I don't understand that shit. You're talking too deep for me. So I have to break it down for them. Not saying that's you, but a lot of people I do, because I just look at it over the years. I've just learned to look at it differently. So that mom brings that little injured thing back, and they just kind of start learning to chase it. It can get up and may run 2 steps, then the thing will fall down. They'll learn to kill it. So over time, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. Now the mom don't bring them nothing. They see that little cow, that little deer over there, and they go try to get it. Mm-hmm. And they gonna kill it, and they gonna eat it. So prey drive turns into that killer instinct that we look for in dogs. Mm-hmm. But it goes back to that 1 to 10 where guys want to skip steps. So when I train my puppies, all my puppies learn in prey, because it's a natural instinct in that dog to chase stuff. So as my dogs get strong at chasing it, I make it hard. I put stuff in front of them. They got to jump over it. They got to go around it. They got to go through it. They got to go under it to get to it. So as I see them getting stronger and stronger, I turn the pressure up. So that when I get to the point where I bring the decoy in, he's used to running at that decoy. The decoy is used to running away from him, right? Right? Mm-hmm. So at some point in time, I tell that decoy, turn around and run at him. When he turns around and he comes at him, some of them say, whoa, what the hell are you doing? I've been chasing you. Why are you coming at me? Mm-hmm. But before I tell that decoy to turn and come back, I've watched him enough to know where he's at. And he's strong enough to handle that. When he turns, he's still going, because he's that strong, because I didn't skip steps. And that's where a lot of guys make a problem at. They want a dog to be defense, and a defensive dog will hurt somebody. So now I'm going to tie both of those questions you asked, I'll tie them together. Yeah. So the prey, as he gets stronger and stronger, now the guy's coming in, he just running through him. It's nothing now. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So now, if you just standing there and I say, get him, boom, boom, boom. Because I watched him and I put it into him, that's the bad guy. He ain't got to do nothing. He just got to be in front of you. Get him. That ain't defense. That's prey that has turned into full-fledged aggression. I'm going to kill you because you standing there, and Dad has taught me that you standing there, you got to go. Mm. You know, and that's a process. And a lot of guys don't want to go through the process. So defense is, you play football in high school, Joe?
No, I was a hooper, believe it or not.
Come on. All right. Well, same thing. Mm-hmm. Defense don't score points, do it? No. Offense scores points. Mm-hmm. Defense, you reacting to what this guy doing on offense. Mm-hmm. So to translate that to dog talk is, if you got a dog and he's at the end of that lead and he's a defensive dog, he won't do nothing until I become offensive. Mm. All right. Mm-hmm. So I can hit him, do whatever, and he reacts to what I do. How is that defense? Or if he's a defense, then he's reacting to me. I'm going to get off first. You ever hear boxers? I used to box when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. That's all I can still hear that trainer saying. That get off first.
Yeah.
Get off first.
Be first. Yeah.
Be first. I'm gonna be first. Man, dog, you talking about come around me and come shit. I'll get back. Oh.
You in there. Oh shit. Okay. I'm gonna see if he come back in. If not, I'm gonna end it. What's up, y'all? Boy, we've been knocking out shows. Oh, there you go.
If I get off first, you ain't gonna survive it.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna be hurt. If you do, you gonna be hurt pretty bad. Right. So when I train a dog, and my dog, I tell you, here's Joe. Have you ever heard the term called leash manipulation? You ever heard of that?
No. Mm-mm.
All right. Here's a weird thing. I keep saying, man, I can talk for hours on end. But here we go. So leash manipulation means my personal dog, my dog, I train a certain way. I train to keep that dog forever. He's mine. So there's some things during his training that I do that I won't do with other dogs that I tag to sell. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. But the dog that I want to sell, I do leash manipulation on him. Now, you can come to my house right now, Joe. I got a dog outside that I train like that. Eat your ass up. Mm-hmm. Eat you and whoever you bring with you. But if I walk over and give you that leash, I tell you how to control him. I'll walk off 3-4 feet and I'll turn back around and you turn him on and that dog will treat me like he never knew me.
Oh, okay. So he got his mind that leash is working.
Whoever holds the leash is the boss.
Right. Okay.
Right?
I got you. Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. So here's where the switch comes in. Mm-hmm. I walk back on you and you fire him off. You tell him what to do. I'm talking about treat me like he never knew me. You turn him off. You walk back over and give me the leash back. You walk off and come back at me and I turn him back on you like he never saw you. Mm. And some people don't understand that. And that's what's called leash manipulation. That's an old military term. I'll give that away because a lot of people don't know it and they won't take the time to go look it up. That's an old military term. That's how they're able to transfer dogs in the military most of the times and law enforcement guys.
Right. Okay.
Because
so
they have some form of leash manipulation training.
Right. That's now, what you see guys who got when they snap the leash on the dog, he start ready to do stuff. Is that kind of the same thing?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
The way that I do it, and to the degree that I do it, is that same scenario I just told you about. Now, when I go put that dog in the kennel, and I can sit in the house and sit here in my chair and tell you to go out there and try to get him. If you can go out there and get him, you can have every dog in my yard. Mm-hmm. Ain't gonna happen because the leash wasn't transferred over. I didn't give you that leash to take him and let him know that when I give you the leash and you walk off with him or I walk off, that tells him that it's all right. And he'll go like that forever. I sell dogs like that, trained like that, 10, 15 grand. Mm-hmm. Leash manipulation. That dog is able to transfer like that easy. But you can't go, once I put him in the yard or once he's back in my position, you can't go back there and fool with him. Mm-hmm. You can't go back there and say, I'm gonna take you. I was just working you. Come on, let's go. Ain't gonna happen. Mm-hmm. That's a whole different level psychology wise on a dog, man. And some people, man, I've told that story to guys been training dogs 30 years and they can't understand that concept. Mm. Yeah. But it happened. Yeah. To that degree, it happens, man. Mm. So the prey versus the defense thing, I think a dog that's brought up in prey and he's turned up little bit by little bit by little bit is just a safer, more stable dog than the dogs that's defensive. Because if you think about what it does, what you have to do to make a dog defensive, you bring some pain in his ass. Mm-hmm. And what a dog that's defensive is thinking, I'm gonna bite you before you can do me any harm. I'm gonna hurt you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A dog that's brought up in prey like that, and he's turned up little bit by little bit, and he knows he can hurt you. He'll challenge you for any reason. He don't give a shit whether you gonna hurt him or not. He coming for you. That's just my way of it. That's just the way I see it, Mr. Joe.
Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate your time, man, and you putting me on and we talking and all that good stuff, man,
Yes, sir.
and I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah, that'll
You
work.
know.
'Cause they gonna get in them comments. They gonna want to holler at you. 'Cause
Oh yeah, well they look. I'll give it. I've been putting this out for many years. My number is 225-200-9162.
Okay.
225-20. Huh?
Somebody asked, did you have any social media pages?
I have Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. But now here's the thing, Joe. It's a lot of stuff. You know, here's another saying. I'll tell you this, and I'll give this away free.
Mm-hmm.
It's some stuff that I don't post online.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Simply because when
I said me too. I don't show everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't show everything. There's a reason doctors don't let everybody in the operating room because they can't handle what they see. Mm-hmm. And it still goes back to the things to be sold, not told.
Yeah.
You know, I put enough up to get somebody interested. And a lot of my business comes from referrals, you know, and stuff like that. And I don't mind talking to people, man. Me and my wife, sometimes she fall asleep on the couch. I get in the bed on the phone talking, and we be in the bed. She get up and get out because she get tired of hearing me talk dog talk.
Yeah, I know. My wife.
You know?
I know she's
yeah, man. I remember you text me. You said the day was your anniversary, man. Congratulations, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. So
phone calls that sharpen you, though. You know, guys I talk to offline all the time. They the ones who help you grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, certainly.
Hey, I'm gonna have a panel. I'm gonna get some trainers on a panel. I want to talk about dog training philosophy one day if you ever want to come on.
Yeah, man. Whenever, man. It don't matter to me. I'm up for it, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
All right, man.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Okay, Joe. I appreciate you, buddy.
No
okay,
problem.
man. Take it easy. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Okay.